G'day guys, Mick here. For once I'm not actually sitting next to the car. Little picnic area down near Birdie Beach in Mumwara Estate Rec. I think it's called Tea Tree Picnic Area, not 100% sure. Anyway, I tried to do a couple of films yesterday. One of them stuffed up, so I'm going to redo that today. I've been asked, not so much online, but in person, why I bought the Pajero. Why I spent money on such a big, heavy, dirty vehicle, you know, so thirsty on petrol and all that sort of crap. Well, at the end of the day, when I sold my mowing business back in 2018, I needed a vehicle that was going to be suitable for a family car, that I could take my wife and my son around in, and our nieces and nephews and whatnot. I was also running a fishing club at the time, so I needed something I could take members for the fishing club around and camping equipment and stuff like that. I also wanted something that could get me to some of those harder to reach places. So I started looking and thinking about what I needed. At the time I had a 2000 rear-wheel drive Hilux, single cab, and that got all my camping gear around nicely, but I couldn't really take the family around in it or other members of the group. So I had to think about it and thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to buy myself a four-wheel drive. I've got the extra clearance, the extra ability to be able to get to places. And it just seemed like it would suit my needs better. So I started hunting around. One of my customers with the business that I had owned an old Patrol. It was a TD42. It was in immaculate condition, absolute amazing car, and I knew he looked after it real well. So I was considering that, and I asked his daughter about it. I knew he wasn't doing real well, so I knew he wasn't driving anymore. Figured they'd probably be looking at selling the car soon. So I asked his daughter, and it turned out that they wanted more than I could offer. I had a budget of $5,000, they wanted $8,000. So unfortunately missed out on that Patrol. Again, it was a beautiful car, it was immaculate condition for its age too. I don't know if it's GQ or GU, but it was one of the nice old square ones. Beautiful car. So yeah, I started hunting around. I had a look on Facebook, and mostly I was looking on Facebook, car sales, Gumtree, whatever. Mostly I was looking for Landcruisers and Patrols because, well, everybody hears Landcruiser and Patrol are awesome. You know, if you want to do a bit of four-wheel driving, you've got to have a Cruiser or a Patrol. Well, that's sort of what I always thought. And I started falling into the trap that that's what I looked for. Eventually I was persuaded and shown a couple of Pajeros to go and have a look at. So on the day that I ended up purchasing mine, I had a look at I believe it was a 94 Prado. It was a turbo diesel, and the guy wanted $5,000 for it. I took it for a test drive, and it didn't seem to want to go into four-wheel drive modes. When I changed the selector, I lost all drive altogether. So I knew something was up there, and I said to the bloke, look, I'll either give you $4,000 for it, or you let me take it to my mechanics overnight and get it checked out. He ummed and ahed, said he'd just dropped the price from $7,000. Wasn't too happy with the thought of that. So I took off, I went home, got my next door neighbour at the time to drive me up to Curry to go and have a look at the Pajero. And about halfway there, this guy rings me and says, look mate, I've spoken to the wife, we'll take $4,000. So that sort of rung alarm bells for me that he knew something was wrong. That it was probably going to cost me more than $1,000 to fix whatever was wrong with it. And given, look, the body wasn't real straight, it wasn't clean. Interior was in worse condition than the exterior was. So I continued on and I had a look at the Pajero. And I pulled up, and the first thing you noticed is there's 2 dents in the guards, a little bit of rust up over the front windscreen, but otherwise the car's straight. The paintwork looks really good on it. It's not scratched up and scuffed and horrible. Paintwork's good. The car looks clean, inside and out. So, had a bit of a look over it. Happy with that. Had the 7 seats, which was a bonus. All-terrain tyres on steel rims. And otherwise, it was pretty well bog stock. I think it had about a 2-inch lift in it. Otherwise, yeah, that was pretty much it. So yeah, I jumped in, took it for a drive, got down the road, went through the modes of four-wheel drive, tested the transfer case, and it changed perfectly every time. I could feel straight away into 4H, I could feel the lock center come on, I could feel it go into low range. It worked amazingly. Put it back into drive, continued on the road. The road driving was far superior over the Prado that I'd just test driven. It was so much smoother, so much quieter. Turning circle was better. Everything just felt so nice about the Pajero. So I tried to keep a bit of a straight face. I went back to we got back to the guy's house. He did mention he had a couple of bull bars there, and he said he believes that they were for the Pajero. So I said, well, look, throw in the alloy one, and I'll give you the 3,500 you're asking for. So straight out, that's 1,500 off my budget. He rang a bloke that was interested in that bull bar, threw the bull bar in. Turned out it was the wrong one anyway, so I ended up selling that on later. But you know, I paid the 3,500. I paid what the bloke was asking, because after looking at that Prado, being that this car was what, 8 years older than what my Pajero is, and the guy was asking $5,000 instead of 1,500. Yes, it's a diesel, but it also had a lot more kilometres on it. I only had about 230, I think, when I purchased this. This was at about 450 or something. So it had a lot more Ks on the clock. And I've never been a big fan of diesel anyway. So yeah, purchased the Pajero, and that's pretty much why I got in that car, and I pretty well fell in love with it from the day I got in it, or the moment I got in it. It suits everything I need. I can take my family around with it. I can take the nieces and nephews. I can carry a heap of luggage in the back. Now that I've purchased the roof rack, I can carry a heap on the roof as well. It's got the rated tow kit. I can tow, I believe the Pajero is rated at about 2.5 tonne. Bit lower than some of the others, but I don't plan to tow that much anyway. It basically did everything I wanted. Ticked every box, and it left me with $1,500 to transfer the rego into my name. From memory, it still had about 6 months. Okay, bush dinner coming through the trees. So it left me $1,500 to do some modifications. So I bought me roof racks, roof cage, some light bars, things like that out of it. And since then I've done a heap more to it, as you've seen in my other videos. So why did I buy the Pajero? Well, simply I prefer, hello bush dinner, bush turkey. I prefer petrol over diesel, always have. It drove amazingly. It was in really nice, clean condition for its age and a car that has been used off-road. And it suited every need I had. Would I have purchased a Landcruiser, a Prado, Patrol or something along those lines? If it was in those conditions, yes, I probably would have. But to be honest, I think I'd be kicking myself today, because this Pajero has outperformed every expectation I've ever had for it. And it's just been an amazing car. Yes, I've had mechanical issues. Yes, it's cost me money in repairs. But it's an 18-year-old car that's done 270,000 Ks. And it's been flogged out in the bush. You've got to expect repairs. So yeah, honestly, I think I'd be kicking myself today if I had have purchased another car. This Pajero has been absolutely amazing. And up until today, and including today, it's amazing to drive. So for me, definitely love the Pajero, and I'm very glad I bought it, and that's why I bought it. Alright, that's it for this one. Peace out, and I'll see you on the tracks. There's the bush dinner. Gobble gobble.